All right, we're going to make some string. One of the things that people are always curious about in the wilderness is, how to survive, and one of the very basic things you need to know is how to make some kind of cordage, whether you're going to make a fishing lure or fishing strings or some way to tie up a shelter, or the most important thing is to make a bow drill for fire. And here in Alabama, one of the plants that I found to be the most available and the strongest is what we call bear grass. And people call it yucca out west, I think, but it's a real flimsy plant. In the woods, it grows very long. I guess it's in its search for sunlight, so the limbs will be very long. This is a real small plant, and some of them will take this kind of shape, And all you need to do is pull it up, and we'll use a few of the leaves. All you need is a couple of them. Find the longest, nicest ones. Now you see this plant in a field. It has a stalk in the middle of it, about the size of your thumb. It'll get about 6 feet tall and have big, beautiful white flowers on it. And that stalk makes a very good bow drill, and I use it for fishing corks. So I cut it up in sections and drill a hole through the middle. And that's one of the uses that it has. So we got our plant now. We're going to go over here and sit down, and I'll show you how to make a rope out of this. The fastest way to make a quick piece of rope, if you're going to lash maybe a T-shelter together or something like that, okay, we make a hole. The rabbit comes out of the hole, around the trees, and then back in the hole. And you just pull both sides tight, okay? And that makes a pretty good knot for lashing things together. And that's a very crude and quick rope, for string or whatever. Now the proper way to do it, to make it last, is to take your leaves like this. Now I just picked up a sharp rock off the ground. And of course you may have a knife, you may not, but all you need to do is take the leaves. You can bite the tip off. Take a sharp piece of stone. Just poke a hole through it and use your finger to strip it, just like that. Now every other piece, you split down the middle. Every time you split something, you split it down the middle. That way it splits evenly on both sides. And if you're in a hurry, you can make these pieces really, pretty big, maybe a 1/4 of an inch wide. If you want to take the time to make a finer rope, you make them as tiny as you can. Very simple, just like that. If you use a knife, you don't want to cut these. You actually want to use the back of your knife. You can use it like this. Take the point of your knife, poke it through like so, and then go back with the knife. So you're just tearing it in two like that. Make very fine strands. Whatever you do, try to make all your strands the same size. If you're in a hurry, you're trying to build a fire before dark and you only got a couple hours, it'll take you about 2 hours to make a good rope. And if you use it right when it's green, the bow drill will usually just fray it so bad it won't last long. So if you make a rope like this, let it dry for a few days if you got the time, and it'll harden and get stiff, and it'll last a long time then. Okay? Once you got it frayed like that, just flip it around, use your fingers, and go the other way. Start in the middle, just like so, and just take your finger and rip it out like that. Each piece is done in the middle. If you find that you miss some are a little thicker, you can go back and re-split them again. First thing you want to do is take approximately an even amount of threads on both sides. You want to feel, you want to do this by feel the same thickness, okay? Now, these are a little coarse. You can make these much finer, like I said, but for the purposes of teaching you, this will be just perfect. All right, you're going to make the OK sign. So I teach the kids, okay? You use these 2 fingers to twist, and you use these 3 fingers to wrap, all right? All right, we're going to twist. Pretend that the rope is facing me like this. We're going to twist half of them to the right with our index finger and our thumb, twist them to the right. That's away from me. I'm going to take these 3 fingers and reach under and grab the other bundle of strings, the other half, and I'm going to turn my wrist like so, okay? And I'm going to pinch it with my thumb, and I'm going to take the second bunch, twisting them away from me, and then reach over the other 3 fingers and grab these and twist them over. So both times, both sets of strings, you're twisting away from you, okay? But you're wrapping both strands towards you. So we twist to the right, or twist away, wrap toward, twist away, wrap toward. It's that same pattern over and over and over again. What you do is you wind up binding this string up on itself. Now, the first inch or 2 may not stay. You can tie a knot in the end, a loose knot, and because it's wet. I just pulled this plant up and it's green. It doesn't want to stay good, but once you get rolling with it, believe me, it stays just fine. Now, the first question is, how do you make it longer? How do you add to it? Kids can't wait to ask that question. So once we get going, we take another strand, reach down here and grab one, wet it. Usually it's dry. Take the small end and just lay it on top and twist it in, just like that. You may want to come out, twist it about twice, reach around, grab the next 3, and pinch it with your other hand, and just keep going. about 2 twists, it's in there and it's not coming out. See, there it is sticking up right there. Okay, when you get done with your rope, you come along and twist and cut all those off. Okay, so every few twists, you just add an extra string. If you add too many, you'll make your rope thick and thin. You have to be careful. That just takes a little bit of practice, but it's that simple. Grab another one, bring it up here. We're going to add it in. Okay, just twist it in. There's maybe other ways to do this. I've seen people do it on their thigh. They can do it much faster. These particular strands don't do well on your thigh, but this is maybe a slow method, but it's the easy way to teach people what you're trying to do, and that's the principle here behind what we're doing. So to show you how simple it is to use plant fibers, you can use your hair, you can use your dog's hair, you can use horse hair. Depends on how desperate you are, you know. You can't get lost in South Alabama. Just, you know, walk a mile and find a road. But in some places of the world, you might need a piece of string to tie up something. You never know. And it's quick to do it. You can use, we have this area called wiregrass. It works great. You can use the inner bark of cedar trees. It's not as strong, but it's okay. You can use the inner bark of poplar trees. You know, if you're looking for water, you know, poplar head is a place to find a spring, and there's always poplar trees laying on the ground. Okay, I got a piece getting thin. I'm going to add another one. Let me reach over here and grab it. Okay, wet a little bit. Lay it right there. Okay. I mean, this is basic survival. And I mean, if you can't make string in the wilderness, you can't be nobody. But if you can make string, you can make a pretty good bow. You can make a bow drill and build fire. So with those two things, you can be somebody. You can survive. You can last a little while. You can make nets. Now, another question people ask me is how you make the big rope. These pieces are getting a little thick. I should have split them out more for teaching, but you can take your teeth like this. Pull it through your teeth. You got it frayed now. It'll lay in there easier. If you want to make a big rope, say 6 feet long, then you make a small rope 12 feet long and you double it back on itself. And when you twist it the opposite way you originally did it. And that'll bind it back on itself, and that's how you make a rope big enough to make a bow drill. There's a Bible verse that says a 3-strand cord is not easily broken. Well, I don't know how to make a 3-strand cord, but this is a 2-strand cord, and if you double it back on itself, it'll be a 4-strand cord. All right, there it is. And I got that. That's where I started, and there it is. You can twist it up like this and help it dry like that shape. Then you come back the next day. Here's one I made yesterday showing some kids. All right, we'll take your knife. Once it dries a few days, you can take your knife and come along and trim the little hairs off of it, okay? Just like so. They'll pull out, and you slowly trim them off nice and neat. Then you can take some tallow or some beeswax, and you can wax this stuff and make it waterproof so that it makes a good fishing line. And you can make these strings very tiny. If you take your time, you can make something that would, you know, be like a 8 or 10 pound test line. And you could fish with it if you had a hook. But that's all you do. It holds up really well, and you can just keep making them as long as you want to. Now, the other string that I've experimented with a lot, I made bowstrings for my son, is made from deer tendon. So let me drag that over here. Okay, this bag I sewed 10 years ago. That string right there, that drawstring, is made from deer tendon. If you ever see anybody butchering a deer, the first thing they want to do is, you know, after they gut it, they'll hang it up to strip the hide off. Well, when it's hanging by its back legs and you got the hide off, if you face the backbone, you have the 2 strips of meat on either side. That's the tenderloin. Everybody likes that, or back strap, excuse me. And on the outside of that back strap, right underneath the hair, that layer that you see is kind of white and shimmy and shiny. That's the tendon right here, old tough stuff. So you need to take really a knife's not a good tool because you can cut it, get you an old butter knife or a broken arrow or something dull and blunt, force it between the meat and the tendon, and you're able to strip that tendon off by, you know, both sides. Leave the back strap hanging. You strip it off, and you take your knife and just scrape the meat off of it and let it dry for 24 hours. And you can take it and you can twist it just like this right here. Okay. Once it dries, you can take the thing and just like that. And you see all the little fibers that separate. And just like the cactus leaf, you just separate it with your fingers. You pull it apart in tiny little threads. The smaller, the better it'll be, okay? You get some very tiny threads right here, okay? You take your pile of threads once you pull it apart, and you can stretch them out, and you can make a string just like I showed you with the cactus. Same way. And that's it.